I forgot. I'm Tamara.
I'm Tamara.
And I'm also Tamara.
This is Fearful Friends Podcast.
Sunday edition. Sunday afternoon edition. Afternoon?
Yeah.
It's 3:30.
Yeah.
It's still the afternoon.
That is the afternoon.
I don't know. Could be. I mean, I do have to go to bed at like 8 tonight. So that's like evening for me.
Ugh, no.
Goddamn early mornings. 4 a.m.s.
Listen, I have to take my headphones off. I can't do it. We're just going to talk without the headphones.
Is it the weird noise?
Mm-hmm.
There's a buzzing noise in our ears. And it's very annoying.
Yeah. I was in such a mood, and then you gave me presents, and then you
then I ruined everything by
my
talking
mood
to you
again.
about real life things. I mean, is that why you asked for more presents?
Yes.
I have some pens over there.
Only if they're good pens, honestly.
Well, Matt personally went and tested them out because we got rid of all the ones that don't work. So they all work. I don't know if they're good.
I love a good pen.
I have a
but
little fake
specific.
snake right here. You could prank
That's
your
pretty
husband.
cool.
Do you want that? Here.
I might. You know what?
It worked really well for an Indiana Jones costume. It's been in my trunk for 2 years. And it gave me a heart attack every time I opened up my trunk.
I've been leaf blowing like
Lulu.
crazy. And like I get it all into a pile, and then I want to like leaf blow it to where I can use it as like mulch on the side of my house.
So smart.
But then all this dirt gets kicked up and it annoys me. So I tell Rich, can you go get a rake from your parents' house so we can rake this out, you know?
Mm-hmm. Where you need
And I
to
don't
go.
have to have dirt flying at me or my neighbor who's sitting outside on his patio for some reason.
Tell him to go inside.
Right? And he like moved it closer to my trees. And I'm like, dude.
He just likes the sound of the blower.
So he goes and gets the rake and he moved it, I'm not kidding you, 1 foot off of the corner of my driveway. He just moved an entire pile. So, yeah, you know
It's
what?
like all in a hard day's work.
This fake
You're just going to
snake's
put it under the pile?
gonna come in handy. Yeah.
Ooh, good. Yeah. I'm very excited to hear about this. Can you film it? Can you video for me?
I should.
You really should. And if not, maybe get Emily. Get her.
And then Emma's like, me and Daddy were raking. And I'm like, 1 foot?
Good job, guys.
I'll go and rake it. Waddle my fat ass out there. Throw my back out.
You should get a compost bin. I spent like 2 hours today shopping on Amazon for a compost bin.
Really?
Because mine is very much so broken.
I want one of those like kitchen I am running out of counter space.
Yeah. And
But I
you
really
just
like
got some
those.
nice counter mugs that you just told me you weren't going to use, but they'd be pretty decorations for your counter.
They're white and black and it matches my kitchen.
Yeah, and they're like French or something.
Yeah.
They have like
me too.
the Paris skyline or something on it. Wow. I'm a snake. I'm a little snake.
So, Rel and I committed to
I didn't commit to anything.
making our social media.
I said I would sit
more
next
successful.
to you while you TikToked.
She's gonna, what's the word I'm looking for? Make me accountable.
Hold you accountable.
Okay.
You get presents if you do good things.
I'll
You
even
get punishment if you don't.
I'll even work on the Instagram.
Really?
What's the punishment?
Spanking. Or you have to let Lulu lick your face for like a solid minute
Okay, that
straight.
is such a
And
punishment.
ears.
Ew, no.
She likes to get in them ears. Look
Okay,
how long
you're
her
right.
tongue is. Look at it.
That is a
It's
punishment.
like 6 inches long.
That's a punishment.
Her tongue is bigger than her head.
That's weird.
Nom, nom,
She's
nom,
like
nom.
showing it off too.
Lick it.
This tongue?
Yeah. Yeah. Punishment for you, reward for her.
So this week, my boss came up to me and she was like, hey, at like 4:00 or like 4:10,
That's really precise.
yeah, you have to have a meeting with our district manager. And I'm like,
Is that when you started shitting your pants?
No, that was just today. Thank God. I was driving home from Walmart today, like white knuckling it in the car.
Turtleneck. No, what do they call it? Turtlehead.
Groundhog.
Bloop, 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 bloop.
And Em's like, really, Mom? You're going to poop your pants? Like, she was so excited. I'm like, shut up.
She's a demon. Let's not talk about poop right now.
Anyway, my boss is like, yeah, you have a meeting with the district manager. And I'm like, great. She tells me this at like 11 o'clock. And it's like 4 o'clock. And I was like,
Wow,
that's
so
cool.
you just have to sit with this all day.
Yeah. She just like goes on about her life. I go home on my lunch break and I'm like, Rich, my boss
gonna get fired.
My boss told me I have a meeting with my district manager and I'm either gonna get a promotion or I'm gonna get fired or they're gonna want
Yell
my
at me.
information to fire someone else. Like, why else would they want to talk to me? And he's like, what are you talking about? Like, I have meetings, every day. And I'm like, you mean like I have meetings every day too, but like, I don't ever get like things get put on my calendar and I have to show up for them. But like,
This was what day? Friday?
someday, I'm not sure what day it was. But I never had my boss come up to me and be like, hey, you need to get on a call with our district manager.
And I feel like normally you would probably get like an email invite or something.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be something so informal.
Right. Which means she has the email invite and it's at 4 o'clock and she needs to talk with him and then include
And then
me
bring
in.
you in.
And I'm like,
Watch you like get there and them just like, we're planning a surprise party and we wanted your insight. Shh, don't tell anyone.
like, I just hate in like corporate situations when they do stuff like, why are you making it secretive?
Yeah.
Why are you
just tell
doing
me
that?
what you want. Or how about like don't tell me in the beginning of the day so that I spend
Exactly.
all day with anxiety when I have to work with customers.
Yeah. So, I get to the meeting and my district manager's like, don't freak out. And I'm like, sir, he's like, you look really uncomfortable. And I was like, well, I'm just always uncomfortable. Like,
Does he know you're pregnant?
I'm like, I haven't told him specifically, but like,
You should have just been like, I'm pregnant. I am always uncomfortable. Like,
oh,
get on with it, sir. And then maybe it would have made them feel bad if you were about to get fired.
right. And then he just like goes on to tell me that they like had changed like the like pay grouping. And I'm like,
Oh, are they like changing your pay?
yeah, they changed like,
Less?
no, and it's $500 more a year. And I'm like, so you mean to tell me that I stressed out about this stupid call that could have been a fucking email? Like, I'm sure there's graphics you could have sent with
like a
pay scales.
PowerPoint. Yes.
Yeah. But all this tells me now is that you have now put me at the bottom of this pay scale.
Is that what it
Because
is?
it's
You
a
make
new
the
pay
least
scale.
amount?
That's what I'm assuming. I haven't seen any like graphics or anything.
She's just waving the snake around wildly.
Emphasis. But like that's what I'm assuming now. If you gave me a $500 promotion just because I was outside of the new pay scale, you gave me a $500 a year promotion.
Oh, so yeah, now you have to like meet up with their minimum wage, essentially, is what you're saying. Yeah.
So now I'm back at the bottom is what you're telling me. You could have sent this email.
Yeah.
This is incredibly stupid.
And you could have sent it at 11
Yeah.
instead of making you wait all day.
Right. And he's like, oh, don't worry, like this isn't going to mess with your yearly, promotion or whatever they call it, raise. And I'm like, last year you gave me 3%, dude. Like, I'm really not that concerned. It's going to fucking mess with that.
You got a 3% raise?
Yeah.
I feel like that's pretty good, right? No? Girl, my raises are like 15 cents an hour.
That's about 3%.
Oh, it just feels like nothing. It feels like a joke.
It is.
Because like they're hiring people, like brand new people with no experience for like more than what we make who have been there for years.
Yeah.
And then you're going to give me a fucking 13-cent raise?
I know.
Gee, thank you. That doesn't cover the raise in my homeowner's insurance, my car insurance that went up, my car payment that I can barely afford because the rates are so high, my mortgage that keeps going up every year.
I know.
But thank you for that extra 13 cents an hour.
Yeah. I know. And they're like really proud of it
Oh,
too.
yeah. We're really keeping up with the times. Bastards. I hate everyone.
Oh God, I know. And I'm so like, after I like come back from my maternity leave, like I'm gonna find a new bank to work at. Like,
Yeah.
I don't care because no matter
they don't value loyalty.
they say they do, and like every business does when you think about it. But like, no matter what, if you want to get a promotion in the company that you're working for, you have to be like best of the best, because they're gonna pull all of your records, all of your everything, and look at you over the past, 5 years that I've worked there and be like, hey, does she deserve this? Versus going to another company with a resume and being like, hey, I have 5 years of experience doing this. And outsiders just get hired at a better pay rate than working your way up to a pay rate, because when you work your way up, it's all about percentages and this and that. And, so I'm not loyal to like really any company.
No.
Can't be.
Be loyal to the dollar.
Yeah. So it's just so funny to me. But
you should look for like private banks.
I know, yeah.
That's where the money's at.
Yeah.
My friend down in I don't remember where she is. Down south. Further south than you are, but still not too far. But yeah, she works at a private bank, and man, she gets to like work from home like 4 days a week. And
what's her name? Send me her information.
I will, actually, because she posts on like Facebook constantly about how they're hiring, and I'm like, damn, if it wasn't so far, I would apply, but I don't feel like making that drive every day. I'm already road ragey from my drive.
Right. I know. And it's so funny, like, we have all these like development plans, and they want you to like work your future, and like the question every time is like,
that sounds like such a corporate tagline.
I know.
Work your future. That's essentially like, dress for the job you want, not the job you have.
I'm in pajamas.
Mm-hmm. Literally, you were in pajamas that one day, right? Yeah. You went in with like black pajamas.
Yeah. They're like, what career, like, what are your goals? Like, I'm like, my goal is to like,
I just want to pay my fucking bills.
And my goal is to be a housewife. So like, where's the career path for that?
Exactly. You are dressing for the job you want. Do you think you're gonna go back to work?
I have to.
Because I know with M, you like, you left Winn-Dixie, then you jumped into like, you did Shipped or something.
I mean, M was a year old when our store closed.
Oh yeah, she was, because I remember her riding around on the electric cart.
Mm-hmm.
No driver's license, that one.
No, she's a rule breaker. I have to work, which sucks for now. Unless I can move
Who's gonna watch your kid?
Fucking Idaho and like become a potato farmer, and like my husband.
You hate farming. Every time I get all excited to show you my garden, you're like, all right.
I'm really proud of you.
I bought a new blueberry plant today.
I am proud of you. I wish I could do it.
Then do it.
And
it's fun. It's very like, it soothes my soul to like just like go out in the garden every time I take the dogs out and just like look at all the pretty things.
I'm just really afraid of spiders.
I have not come across one spider while I was gardening. Do you know what I get more of? Like aphids. They're those little yellow buggies but they're only on my milkweed. But bugs are good in your ecosystem.
Listen, remember, I used to babysit for this lady who was like, this is like this super gardener. She had like everything. Like she could live from her garden.
I love that.
And
that's my goal.
She gave me a thing of kale one day, and I brought it home, and I went straight to your house, and you came over into my car. This when you were still living in your parents' like apartment. And you were like, I thank God I didn't see the spider, but you saw the spider. And it was somewhere in my car, and it like climbed under my seat, and I'm not home, and I don't know where the spider went. I'm not okay. Also, I was driving home from Target last weekend. I didn't tell you about this.
No, I remember you saying you were at Target.
No. Because Friday, when I was driving home from your house, I felt something on my forehead in my car, and it's dark, and I'm like, I have my hair up like real high like this,
just been a piece of
and I'm
hair.
like, and I go like this, and like,
was it
out,
wet?
and I'm like, I like rubbed my forehead and like didn't feel like anything was on my hand. And I'm like, it's just my hair. Like, it's fine. And then I'm like, you know, feeling like creepy crawlies on my feet. And I'm like, it's all in my head. Like, it's not real. It's in my head. And then the next day I'm driving home from Target on 95 and there's a fucking brown fucking spider crawling on the inside of like right where my visor is. And I'm like going fast on 95.
Which means she was going about 50 miles an hour.
I was in the middle lane, so I don't know. Probably.
Jesus Christ.
And it's like, thankfully, it starts crawling away from me, but it's on my windshield. And it's just so unsafe because you know I'm focusing on this fucking spider. Mm-hmm. So thankfully, there's an exit. And I get off at that next.
You really got off the highway to take care of this spider?
Yes, it was inside my car.
Yeah, you probably have a lot of creepy crawlies in your car. You leave food in your car. The other day when I got in there, there's a half-eaten muffin. You couldn't remember what day it ended up in your car.
Because I feed my kid breakfast in the car. Anyway.
That's how you get bugs.
Well, she has to eat. What do you want from me?
Remove the muffin when you're done eating.
I don't know. And she has to get out and go to school.
And then go through the back seat.
When?
It's when you get home.
Then I go to work. And then, you know, we don't think about anything. Anyway, so I'm like freaking out. I'm pulled to the side of the exit with my flashers on. Just freaking out because I could just see the spider. And it's like right in like the crevice of my windshield and my dashboard. And I'm like, what do I do?
You just drive.
So I grab like a grocery bag and I'm like, okay, maybe I'll kill it with this. And then I had a gallon of vinegar.
What the fuck are you going to do with a gallon of vinegar?
I'll just fling vinegar at it. Vinegar will kill it, right?
Ew. Then your car's going to smell like vinegar.
Yeah, you're right about that. So I'm like pouring vinegar into my hand and like flinging it
the
at
power
my windshield.
of Christ compels you.
This did nothing, by the way.
It's just cooking strength vinegar. It's fine. He's like, what are you trying to do? Pickle me?
So then I remember I have like a spray bottle in the back.
Did you put the vinegar in the spray bottle?
No. It has like windshield cleaner. And I'm like, okay. So I crawl my pregnant ass to the back. I don't get out because if I get out, it's like right where all these cars are.
Oh my God, I'm so stressed.
Over all these fucking groceries. And I go and get the spray bottle and bring it up and I'm spraying. I finally killed the stupid thing.
Oh my God.
With like Windex.
I feel so bad for that spider.
It was so ridiculous. And I'm shaking and calling Rich like, oh, it's a fucking spider and being really brave about it. Like, you need to take my car and get it back.
Maybe get rid of that vinegar smell.
And then so I'm like driving home and I'm holding the spray bottle and a gallon of vinegar
just ready for the spider to come back to life.
Yeah. Also, I didn't want the gallon of vinegar to fall and like, you know, really ruin my car. So I just drive in and then I get off on my exit and I'm like parked next to this guy in a truck and I can just feel him staring at me holding a gallon of vinegar and a spray bottle full of like blue stuff. And I'm just straight forward. I just
nothing to see here, folks.
It's ridiculous. Anyway.
Your fear of spiders is unreasonable.
I fucking hate spiders.
I also hate spiders.
Like, I'm terrified.
I just have to say this. The other day, I was on one of our like Facebook groups for where I live, and somebody had posted that they bought a new house in the area, and they posted a picture of a spider that they found, and they were just like, I just moved in. I don't know what kind of spider this is, but this feels unreal. And it was literally like the size of their fist.
Oh, no.
And I was like, Matt, this isn't real. This isn't real. And he's just like, we both went and like identified it. And it's a fucking huntsman spider. And it is real. And they do live in South Florida. And I am traumatized beyond, like, could you imagine seeing one this big?
No.
A beefy motherfucker?
No. I would not be okay.
It's like 10 minutes away from my house. Like, I can handle all the other spiders. I cannot handle one that big. I don't want a spider that, like, can put up a fight, you know?
Like, kill a bird. No.
Yeah.
I'm having
Really
cramps now, so we need to just talk about something else.
Does your baby get upset when we talk about things and just, like, give you cramps?
I think I just, like, get worked up and my body's like...
Maybe you should drink
Is it
some more
time?
water. Is it time? Are you going to go to labor on my couch? That is not leather. It's just going to soak up all that water.
Water?
Yeah, from your holding cell. What's it called?
Uterus?
Your water bag.
My...
Your sack. God. Everything about pregnancy sounds like some fucking weird alien predator show.
It is. I'm getting kicked in the butthole, and I feel like that's the main reason why I keep having diarrhea, because something...
It's just kicking your sphincter.
Yeah.
It's like activating your anal glands.
Mm-hmm. It's really weird. Wasn't like this
Lulu
with
knows
them.
what that's like. Always got problems with her anal glands.
Lucy does too. She loves to pop her anal glands on my
Oh, they haven't popped them in a
Disgusting.
really long time, which is really good. But, like, she does... Oh, my God. I know that she shouldn't, because it's, like, really gross, but it's the cutest fucking thing, and it makes me just, like, love her so much when she, like, rubs her butt on the floor. She literally will just scoot across the entire length of my house, just looking at me the whole time, smiling. Like, oh, that feels so good. Oh, yeah. She's just scooting the whole time.
You should try this
One of
Mom.
these days I want to try to catch it, like, on video, because it's just, like, the funniest fucking thing ever. The smile on her face, she has never been so happy in her life to scratch her butt on the floor. She got her tongue, like, half out of her mouth, just, like, lazy eye. Yeah, we're talking about your butt.
She's proud of it.
Mm-hmm. I keep a clean booty hole.
Do you have a part 2 for me?
We have been recording for 23 minutes. What the world? I do have a part 2.
I know it's a part 2, and I know I was excited
But you don't
all
remember
day,
anything
but
about it, right?
I don't remember it, no.
Okay, so part 2, we were talking about the Yuba County 5.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
Okay.
So where we left off in part 1, February 24th, 1978, Bill Sterling, Jackie Hewitt, Ted Weir, God, I already forgot how to pronounce it, Jack Madruga, and Gary Mathias, they had all loaded up into...
No, Fart Matthias?
My phone likes to call him Fart Matthias, yes. You remember that?
Yeah.
They all loaded up into Jack Madruga's Mercury Montego to go to a basketball game in Chico, California. And then after the game, they all stopped at a convenience store to get road snacks and then presumably made their way home. But unfortunately, that's not what happened. As you recall, Jack Madruga's abandoned car was found on a mountain road in a remote area of the Plumas National Forest, about 70 miles in the wrong direction of where they needed to go.
And it looked like it had been just, like, dropped there.
Yeah, basically, like, by some other demon force. I don't know. Maybe weird aliens.
Or
Who knows?
Tow truck.
The men weren't found with the car, and the vehicle itself was in pretty good shape, considering the men weren't familiar with the rough mountain terrain. We already talked about the condition of the car. The tank of gas was a quarter of the way full. It hadn't broken down. It started right back up. It had the windows still open with the keys missing from the car. The men's families and police were left scratching their heads, questioning what happened here, and the lack of any useful clues at the scene was beyond frustrating. And then where we left off, any hope that the men would be found quickly was lost when a blizzard came through the area just 5 days into the search and had to be called off for the safety of the search team. After that, there really wasn't a whole lot for police to go on. They basically just had to rely on whatever random tips came in, and they did get several, but most of them were easy to weed out from, you know, like legitimate ones and just fucking people trying to get some reward money. There were a few that made police pause and, you know, like consider, you know, could this be legit? So one tip that came in was from a woman who worked at a shop in Brownsville, which was about 30 miles south of where the car was found. On March 3rd, so they went missing on the 24th, I said. On March 3rd, she had seen the reward flyers that the families had just hung throughout the area, and she called police to tell them that she'd seen some of the men the day after their disappearance. Now, while the police took the statement very seriously, it is important to mention that she only called after she saw the flyer for roughly $1,200 reward, which today would be just over $5,800. So good money. She claimed that the men had arrived at the store at around 2 p.m. in a red 1950s model pickup truck. She said that the 2 men stayed in the truck, and then 2 men went to the payphone outside the store, and then 1 went inside to buy some things. The statement she gave to police made me glad that I don't live in a small town, because she told them, quote, "I noticed them because they didn't look from this area, and you notice strangers around here, especially them with their big eyes and facial expressions."
What?
Remember, because they were all mentally disabled.
Big eyes.
Yeah.
Jeez.
She's kind of a cunt. And you can tell she doesn't really care for those kinds of people.
So there was only 4 men.
So there were 2 that went to the payphone, 2 stayed in the car, 1 went inside the shop to buy some snacks.
So there was 5 men.
5 men.
And there's originally
allegedly
4 men.
Nope.
There's originally
the Yuba
5.
County 5.
You're right. When you're right, you're right.
When you're right, you're right. What are you gonna do?
Okay. But I'm still one. So there's not like an extra person that has them like tricked for some reason.
This
like,
is her statement. This is. I mean, we don't even know if this
doesn't
is
sound like
confirmed.
she can count either. But
well, with the big brown eyes, we don't know. So yeah, the cops were like, okay, well, that's 5 people, but like that's not the car, that's not the Mercury. But again, this was like after the car was abandoned.
They would have had to somehow get another car.
Get a car.
Yeah.
Who knows? The owner of that same store corroborated her story and added to it, saying that he saw them on the 25th and the 26th as well. He told police that he was pretty sure that he saw Ted Wire and Jackie Hewitt buying burritos and chocolate milk while in the store, which, like, again, is kind of strange because the night after the game, they went to that convenience store and bought a whole bunch of snacks and chocolate milk. And I was just like, wow, like, priorities, sure. Burritos and chocolate milk, it's kind of fucking weird, but, like, sounds like them.
Yeah.
And Jackie and Ted were, like, besties, and they were like inseparable. So the fact that this random dude who did not know that was just like, I'm pretty sure I saw these 2 together, is kind of, it sounds like it could be legit, even if the lady was, kind of fucking insensitive.
Yeah.
But again, like, where did the red truck come from? Like,
so they went missing in February, like the end of February. He saw them. So
they went missing. The game was on the 24th.
Okay.
Their car was found a couple days later. He claims that he saw them on the 25th and the 26th, both days.
And then she's at the beginning of March?
She called in the tip March 3rd.
Okay.
And another credible sighting from a 55-year-old Sacramento man named Joseph Scones. He was driving on those desolate mountain roads that day to check on his cabin at Bucks Lake. This is a really rural area. And I had to Google all of this to figure out how far everything was. And I'm like, good God, I would never want to live there. But it was about a 20-minute-ish drive from where the car was found. So around 5:30 p.m., he said his Volkswagen Beetle got stuck in a snowbank, which I guess that was a popular car back in the 70s. Checks out. It got stuck in a snowbank about 50 yards from where the missing men's car would eventually be found. So he got out of the car to try to give it a push, and he felt a sudden pain in his chest. So this guy was immediately just like, oh my God, I think I'm having a heart attack.
Oh my God.
Yeah, out in the middle of nowhere, your car's stuck. You're going to fucking freeze to death. So he like immediately crawled into his car. I haven't even started drinking yet. He crawled into the car and he turned on the heater, and he spent the next 6 hours just laying there, unable to move from the excruciating pain.
Oh my God.
I know. And then I didn't realize heart attacks hurt so bad. Around 11:30 p.m., he notices headlights coming up the road behind him. He sits up and he sees a group of men, and what he says is a young woman with a baby in her arms. He yelled out his window for help, and the group turned off the headlights of the car and got quiet. He then said he laid back down for 2 more hours, and he said he saw what he thought was a flashlight beam across his windshield. So again, he got up and was just like, help, hello, like I'm in here. And again, the light went off and no one came forward. The next morning, Joseph's car had run out of gas, and the pain in his chest had subsided enough that he decided to get out of the car and head down the road, and maybe he'd get lucky and come across someone who could help. So he walked right past the abandoned Mercury, because it was only 50 yards behind where his car was.
Okay.
And, yeah, it was in the same location where he had seen the headlights and heard the voices talking, but there was nobody there. Later on, doctors would confirm that he'd had a mild heart attack. And although his statement is compelling, he also admitted that he isn't 100% sure. He isn't 100% certain on all the details because he was in such excruciating pain. He wasn't sure if he was like seeing something real or if he was in some sort of delirium from the pain. The families of the missing men also had speculated that their boys wouldn't just walk away from someone who needed help. Ted Wyer's mom even recalled how her son and Bill Sterling had actually helped a stranger on the street get to a hospital when they were overdosing on Valium. So with that being said, it seems like these tips only created more questions than answers. After that, news outlets reported here and there on the Yuba County 5, but months went by with little to no leads, at least until Sunday, June 4th. Fucking like months later.
Okay, yeah.
That day, the weather was warming up a bit, and the snow up in the mountains was finally starting to thaw out a little bit. A couple of motorcycles were driving up and down the trails of Plumas National Forest when they spotted a Forest Service trailer in the woods. It was like a little campsite that the rangers would use if they ever needed to post up somewhere. The campsite they came across was about 20 miles away from where the abandoned Mercury was. They pulled into the campsite to check it out and explore a little because, you know, it's creepy. It's like abandoned. I probably would have done the same thing. Mm-hmm. And they noticed a broken window in the front of the trailer. They cracked open the trailer door to check it out, and they were immediately hit with the stench of death.
Oh, God.
I know. Here's where it gets weird. Inside the trailer, neatly wrapped in a bundle of sheets, was the body of an emaciated man whose feet were severely frostbitten, whose hands were crossed over the chest, like in funeral pose. And on the table beside him was a ring engraved with the name Ted, a gold necklace, Ted's wallet still carrying cash, and a gold watch that remains unclaimed by any of the 5 men's family. They did not know who that watch belonged to.
Oh, what?
They also found tennis shoes that belonged to Gary Mathias, but Ted's shoes were missing. They were not in the camper.
So, these people with the motorcycles, they are the ones that found this.
Yes.
They were like, smells like
smelled it.
Death.
They walked in, they saw a body all wrapped up, and they were like, let's go, please.
Oh, okay. All right. Like, they went in and explored. I would not have done that.
I hope they didn't, but, oh, God, I don't know.
Remember that time we found like an abandoned house when we were hiking?
Oh, yeah.
That was so scary.
Did we go in? We couldn't go in.
We did go in.
Was it cool? I don't remember.
It was like falling apart.
I love shit like that. I totally would do this. But like if like I smelt a dead body, I'd be like, maybe let's not. Yeah. I don't want to be involved. No. Ted Wyer, before his disappearance, was tall and husky. He was a big dude. And when he was finally found, he had wasted away to just about 100 pounds. He was missing 3 toes on one foot and 2 on the other due to frostbite and gangrene. The beard growth on his face indicated that he probably lived in that trailer for 2 or 3 months after they went missing, before he finally passed away from starvation and hypothermia. They couldn't tell what got him first. But
oh my God.
He had frostbitten toes, so definitely cold was a factor.
Yeah.
Now, the strange thing about his cause of death was that, you know, he'd broken into the trailer. He'd opened up a whole bunch of like old, like big cans that at one time they held rations of food, but there were a few sheds around the trailer with like lockers, and if he'd opened them up, he would have found enough food to feed all 5 men for over a year. And in another shed, he would have found matches and propane to warm up the trailer, because there was like a heater in there. Not to mention there was like flammable goods all over the place. They had books, wood all over the place that they could have put in the fireplace or whatever to heat them up. Investigators said it seemed like he'd made no attempt to even leave the trailer, even though the snow most likely had melted enough for him to do so. And they said it just seemed like he was waiting to die.
Maybe he couldn't walk.
Maybe because of the frostbite. So the next day, searchers returned to Plumas to canvass the area around the campsite and see if they can find the rest of the missing men, because surely where there's one, there will be more. There was a group of 5 of them. They followed the road from the trailer to where the car was abandoned. You know, they just walked in that direction, scanning to see what they could find. And about 11 miles away from the car site, they came across the scattered remains of Bill Sterling and Jack Madruga, who still had the car keys in his pocket, the pocket of his clothes that were found, you know, away from the body, because he was basically skeletal by this point. And the remains were spread over a small area by scavengers.
Oh, God.
Yeah. A later autopsy would determine the cause of death in both men to be hypothermia, but like with that being said, there wasn't a whole lot left of them to test, so it's really hard to come up with that conclusion when you just have bones. So we're just saying hypothermia, but if they had had flesh on their bones, maybe we could have seen, like, if some foul play had occurred, like blunt force trauma or anything like that, but we just don't know. That's just what we're going with based on the weather was cold that night, you know?
Yeah, they chalk it up to exposure.
Yeah. And that's what it's listed on their death certificate is exposure. Deputies speculated that one of the men may have given in to the urge to fall asleep, which, you know, this urge comes during the final stages of hypothermia, and that the other man had stayed by his side, not wanting to leave him behind, and he had also passed away shortly after. So that could be why their bodies were found so close to each other, which is, like, really fucking sad. Like, he didn't want to leave him behind and let him die alone, so he just stayed and died with him. Sorry. So 3 bodies have been discovered so far. We're still missing Jackie Hewitt and Gary Mathias. And Jackie Hewitt's father at this point, he decided he wanted to get more involved with the search efforts. Now we've got 3 boys. His kid's got to be out there somewhere. And it's typically discouraged that family members help out on a search for what happens next.
Right.
2 days later, about 2 miles from the trailer, so pretty close, Jackie Hewitt's father found his son's backbone. And,
oh, God.
Well, he found some clothing, and when he picked up the clothing, he said like a piece of vertebrae or whatever had fallen out of the clothing, but he knew it was his son's clothing. And his shoes and jeans were nearby. It was like under a bush, which, you know, this helps identify the body as his. His skull was found the next day about 300 feet away from the bush, and he too had died allegedly from hypothermia. And then a quarter of a mile from the trailer, searchers also discovered a makeshift camp where they had found 3 Forest Service blankets, so potentially being from the campsite that we originally found. And then they found a rusty flashlight. So this, along with the fact that Gary has still never been found, and Ted's shoes were missing, that led investigators to think that maybe Gary Mathias had made it out alive while the others had died. And, you know, they have no idea where he is. So, once again, police have all this new information. They found 4 of the 5 missing men, but there are still so many unanswered questions, like why were they up on the mountain in the first place? What made them drive 70 miles in the wrong direction? When they knew where to go home, they were familiar with the route home. Why did they abandon the car when it was in perfectly working order? Was there really a woman with a baby up on the mountain with them? What's up with this red pickup truck that lady said she saw? And why didn't they use any of the trailer supplies that were, like, evident? Where is Gary Mathias?
He's on the run, living under the name Fart Mathias.
Fart Mathias.
Every time you say that, that's all I can think of.
It's the other one, right? Oh, no, it is Gary. Whatever. So, like, yeah, it's just like every part of this is so fucking weird. There are so many theories. There have been a ton of reports that people have seen Gary around town or just, like, hitchhiking in Plumas, but none of it could be substantiated. There's rumors that there was a bully who was, like, picking on the boys, and Gary had stood up to the bully. So the bully was just like, I'm gonna kill you, and like forced the boys into the woods where he then murdered them. That's, I don't know about that, but rumors. Some
But
say,
why would he get them like that far away?
I have no idea. I think the families were just very, very concerned that like even one of the family members was concerned that Gary himself killed the rest of the boys. Like, because she was just like, oh, they were scared of Gary, da 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 da. But like, I don't know. It's hard to tell what's like true and what people are just saying to like make themselves feel like a sense of, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
So, which one of them was the one that was like the drug addict with schizophrenia?
Gary. And that's why they say the boys. That's why I'm sorry. It was one family member who was like, Gary did it because he had drug abuse issues in the past. He had like a regimen of medication that he had to be on for his schizophrenia.
Mm-hmm.
But even in like all of his therapists and stuff like that, they said that he'd never had like violent tendencies or anything like that. He would just get like, I don't know, like uncomfortable, as I'm sure that you would get. Like, but he'd never exhibited any kind of aggression or violence. But, you know, this one lady whose brother or son died was absolutely sure that Gary had something to do with it. Because, you know, he may have lost touch with reality. And yeah, she actually said that he had probably had a break from reality by being off his meds and had convinced the boys to die slowly.
Okay. Like,
convinced them, you're doing a good thing. We're not going to go get help. You stay in the camper or whatever, which is just sad.
I mean, if he did have a break from reality, which happens, like, I mean, something could have happened. Like, he could have, with having, what does he have? Schizophrenia. Like,
but again, this was the 70s, and schizophrenia was kind of just like a blanket diagnosis for anything that could be going on.
Like, you know, he could feel that, like, he's being told to do this. I mean, that's a possibility.
Yeah.
And also, like, not being, like, in his head enough to, like, get the food out.
Yeah.
And, like, also go make a makeshift camp somewhere in the winter and, like, possibly die like everyone else. But also, like, I feel like someone took advantage of them.
Right. And that's what some of the families are thinking is like, but then, like, what's the gain? Ted still had money in his wallet. And, like, it's just weird because, like, the boys, I hate calling them boys. They're men. The men obviously made it to the camper. Like, probably all 5 of them. I mean, Gary, like, who knows? But they made it to the camper because when they found that one makeshift campsite, it had things from the camper. It had the blankets and stuff. So that could have been their attempt to break out and go get help. And then they just died there.
Right.
So, like, I don't know if it was, like, foul play. This sounds like they just fucking made a mistake. I don't know. It's a really big mistake to make, but...
Whose car was it?
This was Jack Madruga's car.
Jack's car.
And the keys were found with his remains.
I mean, the car could have... Anything could have... Like, the car could have, I don't know, overheated and they...
Yeah.
It didn't want to start. And it was like they only had a quarter of a tank and maybe they wanted to save that for something. Like, maybe. Who knows?
But, like, I don't know, just, like, turn the heater on in the car until morning when it's not so cold, you know? Yeah. Why did you leave the car? They had no idea where they were going. They didn't even know they were going to come across that trailer. It was 20 miles away from their car. Yeah. Can you believe that they even made that walk in the middle of the night with nothing but, like, light jackets on? That's insane. So, yeah, we could just literally, like, sit here and talk about all the different things, but the police's theory is that on that long 20-mile walk from the car to the trailer, the men just simply dropped one by one from hypothermia, and then possibly Ted and Gary were the last ones to make it to the trailer, or, you know, all of them made it there, and then, I don't know, that part is just weird to me. And it could be that after Ted died of probably, like, gangrene or something like that, or, you know, starvation, any one of the things that could have killed him, Gary stayed with him to take care of him, wrapped his body, you know, put him in funeral pose, set all of his things to the side as, like, a, you know, makeshift funeral type thing.
Mm-hmm.
And then Gary probably took Ted's shoes because they were better than his own, and then just left and tried to keep walking for help. And the cops believe that Gary's body is most likely somewhere out there too. They just haven't come across it. Because if they were able to make it 20 miles overnight, you know, how far could he have made it? But then again, like, they've been out there for months and they didn't have any food. If Ted was wasted away, I will say though, maybe Gary ate and Ted didn't, because family members said that Ted was he had very like good morals. If he even thought that he was stealing something from someone else, he wouldn't touch it. So like the fact that he went to the trailer and there was food there, maybe he just wouldn't eat it because he knew it was wrong to take something that wasn't his.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe Gary ate and Ted didn't, and Ted died of starvation and Gary went on without him.
I know. I was thinking that, but then at the same time, like, I feel like your brain would like override that.
Right.
And,
like I am hungry. I am starving to death. I have to eat something. There's food right there.
Yeah.
It's the same reason that like the people on that crash plane in the Andes ate their comrades because they had no other choice. Even the ones that had like religious, you know, I'm not eating another body. It's going to send me to hell. Well, you have to because you're going to die.
Yeah.
So, but, yeah, to this day.
What's going on with the gold watch, though?
I don't know. Nobody knows. It was never claimed by any of the family members.
Was it like a really nice watch?
I don't know. I just said it was a gold watch.
Gold color, or was it gold?
I don't know. It just said it was a gold watch. I read you what I read.
Need to know.
Maybe Ted had just picked it up and he was just wearing it.
Oh, like maybe it was at the cabin because like,
but like all the things that were set up next to Ted were all of his belongings.
Mm-hmm.
You know, as like he cleaned the body, he like prepped it for being wrapped and stuff like that. You know,
that's weird. He cleaned the body.
Well, I don't know if he cleaned it.
Oh,
but,
okay. I'm like,
I mean, he took care of if it was Gary that wrapped him. Obviously, Ted couldn't wrap himself. He was losing fucking toes. They were just popping off one by one. You know, like somebody wrapped him and presented his arms over his chest. Somebody took care of him in his final days. We don't know who it was. We don't know if it was Gary, but maybe he just like set up all those things as like a tribute to Ted. It's really sad. And to this day, it's still a mystery. The case is still active and it haunts families and people like us and the investigators for over 50 years. No, not over 50 years. 46 years. Hopefully one day Gary turns up, whether it's alive or dead, so that the family can have some closure. But until then, the case will just keep driving us all fucking insane. Remember I kept texting you and I was like, this case is gonna make me lose my fucking mind.
Yeah.
And there was like so much more I could have fucking put in there. Matt was like, you need to stop. You need to stop.
But what about the watch?
The watch? Where is Gary? Why were the other men found and not him? And if they, like, did he go in the opposite direction? Like, the other guys went closer towards the car, and then they were found 11 miles from the car. So, like, did Gary go in the opposite direction? Did the police even look in the opposite direction? Because, and, like, family members, they don't think they did. Because they kept trying to get the police to go look at that campsite. They were like, we know it's there. Because, like, you know, some of the family members would do hunting and stuff. They knew that the fucking campsite was there. They told police about it, and police were like, yeah, we'll check it out. But they never thought in a million years that the boys would be able to walk 20 miles in the middle of the night in the pitch black in the fucking freezing snow. So why would they go check there?
I mean,
so how far did Gary get?
Maybe they didn't even do it that night. I mean, that had to take 20 miles. I don't feel like they could have walked that in the snow in one day. I don't know.
Well, it had to be that night because when what's his face, the guy that was having a heart attack, he walked by the abandoned car the next day. They weren't there. Yeah. So it's just fucking weird. And like, if that lady didn't see the boys, the men, in the red pickup truck, who the fuck is buying burritos and chocolate milk? That's the biggest question of the day.
Someone with really wide eyes.
Them big old eyes. Them facial expressions and them big old eyes.
I feel like that's just like a red herring. I feel like
Yeah, I know. I feel like she saw the posters go up and she wanted to cut her that money.
or like even if she did, I mean, maybe she saw people that looked like them. I don't know. Like, you know, there's lots of people in the world.
Yep. There really are.
You know. But like maybe they had like some like shared delusion thing.
Yeah. There was one theory that I read, but I didn't want to get into it because then I would have had to go down another fucking rabbit hole. But it was like it was called like the 1-by-1 theory or something like that, where I didn't read about it, but
yeah, I mean, like, if, you know, they're mentally handicapped, maybe, like, the whole car being, like, a quarter of the tank and, like, being stranded, like, maybe they just didn't, like, 100% know, and, like, maybe they were having issues driving because
maybe they couldn't see in the blizzard.
Yeah, and, like, or, you know, they weren't used to driving, they were, like, they thought something was wrong with their car, and maybe thinking, like, if you see, like, an old gas tank, like, you probably, maybe he just thinks he's out of gas, you know? Maybe the car tire got stuck and he was like, oh, I'm out of gas. Yeah.
Maybe. Yeah, we don't know what happened to that car. But it's just very sad. It's very sad.
Yeah.
Especially because, like, their families were out there looking for them, like, the day after they went missing, or right around the time they found the car. And the boys were there. They were, like, in the area because they would have had to walk 20 miles to that camper.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, it's just crazy that, like, they weren't found while they were still alive. Because they would have been heading towards, I mean, how far can you walk? I mean, I guess it had been, like, a couple days, but
I feel like
I hope they find
the
Gary.
two died walking those 20 miles.
That they think that they died first,
mm-hmm.
and then
the three of them made it to the campsite, the trailer.
Yes.
And
then they found 3 Forest Service blankets. But only 2 bodies. So maybe Gary was with the 3 of them. The 2 died and Gary went on from there. Maybe Ted was already gone by that point.
Or maybe he just wanted extra blankets because he was cold.
Oh, maybe. Oh, it's just so annoying.
Yeah.
I hate unsolved. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's the end of my story.
All right. Well, I guess I have to go Google this gold watch now.
I don't remember if there are pictures.
I don't like it.
There are pictures of the trailer, and it's spooky looking. But
all right, friends. Well,
Tamara's going to finish her story for next week.
I am. It's very history heavy, and it's like
the Whiskey Rebellion.
Yeah.
Can't wait.
Hamilton.
The Broadway play.
John Adams.
Oh, is this about presidents? Is this about Mount?
No.
Are we doing a report on Mount Rushmore? What's going on? The faces on the dollar?
No. God. I'm not that boring.
You are going in with history. I'm very scared. I'm very nervous.
It's a haunting.
Ooh. Presidential haunting?
No.
Oh.
Presidents are involved in my history report, I guess.
Ooh. I feel like I know what this is. Maybe. I'm very excited.
Yeah.
It's been a while since we've had a haunting. Quit licking your coochie.
Sorry.
Tamara. Lulu, stop. You're going to give yourself another bladder infection. Smack you in the face.
All right. Well, check out our TikTok and our Instagram and leave us a review on iTunes and tell someone about us because it really helps. And
Tamara's having a baby. She needs money from sponsors. So we need to get more people to listen.
Yeah. Yeah. And
check out her baby registry if you want. We could plug your baby registry and see what happens.
Nothing.
Just kidding. And they would have your address.
That's true. Yeah.
Ugh.
Anyway, what was I going to say? Oh, send your crazy stories to
fearfulfriendspodcast@gmail.com.
Bye.
Bye.